Welcome back to Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Sean Anderson, and as promised, head football coach, the Ponca City Wildcats, Josh Allen with us. And Coach, a couple of tough games to start the season. Enid and Guthrie, and Booker T starts district play the 22nd. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But first, can we quickly recap the Enid and Guthrie games? And although you see the final score, that doesn't tell the whole story. You had to have found some positives in watching from the sidelines and reviewing that film, and you got to be proud of your athletes.
Yeah, I mean, the Enid game, our first two games of the year, Evan Memorial and Enid, I thought there was a lot of bright spots in the film, both sides of the ball. Obviously, Evan Memorial, we really played well in many spots. The very first game of the year, defense played well in some spots. Offense played well, had our chances to be in that game. Enid, we gave too many points up and big plays early in the game. Again, to Enid, secondary struggled in that game, and we did not play well. Running backs for Enid were talented. Were just talented, and so they gave us problems. And so we got down early in that game. Offense, really in the Enid game, played extremely well. Offensive line graded out one of the best that we've had in a couple of years. So we really did some good things there, throwing and running. But in the end, Enid game, we had too many turnovers again, fumbles and interceptions. That killed some drives that we were moving the ball on. That we scored 34 points, could have easily been more.
Right.
But we shot ourselves in the foot. And then really this last week, the Guthrie game was, probably, sometimes matchup schematics. They were a pressure defense that got in our face and our receiver's face and loaded the box. And that scheme right now is probably going to give us the most problems. And it definitely showed on the offensive side. We did nothing throughout most of the game offensively. And obviously as coaches, we're looking at everything from play calls to player performance to everything as to why we did not perform better in that game. And then defense, same story. Secondary gave too much stuff up throughout the game, too many big plays.
Yeah.
And offense again turned the ball over more. So we have a lot. The Guthrie was not a good. There wasn't really a whole bunch of positives, and the fact that the defense did in the second half hold them down. I think they only scored. In fact, I'm trying to think. They might. I'm trying to think. They only scored one offensive touchdown in the second half, I believe. So our defense really played well in the second half there, and we stopped their run throughout the night really well. So I was proud of the front seven holding up in there. But still, we just we have a lot to work on. We got only 3 returning starters from a year ago. It's I'm not an excuse guy, but that is going to bode some problems, especially early in the season.
You got a lot of young players. Yeah, a lot of young players. Yes. Very little varsity experience.
Sure.
This year, 3 games at Memorial, Enid, and Guthrie. And as the season progresses, perhaps those players are going to get more comfortable.
They'll settle down.
Sure
Yes.
You're watching them as they get into the.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of guys that probably should be playing junior varsity that are having to play varsity ball this year.
Just out of necessity.
Just out of necessity. Our senior class, should needed to be a little bigger and have more guys available, and we just don't. So we're having to play younger guys, which in the end they'll have to grow up fast. There's better days, type language when you do that. At the same time, though, we want to win now, and don't want to make excuses. So as coaches, we're going to roll our sleeves up, get to work, see what needs to be done, how we can speed this process up, and get a little more competitive than we were last week.
Yeah. At the top of this show, I said, first couple of games this season, there's been 3 games with Edmond Memorial, Enid, and Guthrie. But boy, it certainly feels like we shouldn't have already had 3 games.
Yeah.
Middle. Here we are, middle of September. But you start early, and that's what happens. So game number 4, it'll be a district matchup. Booker T. Washington, the Hornets, coming to town, Sullivan Stadium, the night of the 22nd. You have an off week this week. Tell us about Booker T. And before you tell us about Booker T., what kind of benefit for you and your team? What can you do in this additional week to prepare?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we've been moving so fast for 3 weeks. Guys are, it was good to have a weekend. Coaches got Sunday off. We're usually working from 2 to 9 o'clock on Sunday, so we had time to spend time with family. So just get some rest. So we obviously, when you get beat like we did against Guthrie, it's not just take a week off. We're going to work hard. Obviously, things maybe have changed. If we would have won that game, we might have been lighter and easier on some things. Now I think we're going to have to ramp up certain parts, and put the pads on for several days and practice pretty hard. At the same time, we're not going to keep them out there as we would if we had an opponent. We'll probably try to get them out there by 4:15, 4:30 every day instead of 5:15, 5:30. So we'll probably cut things down by an hour, just try to get them home a little bit earlier this week. At the same time, the intensity needs to, we'll have maybe some more individual time to work on drills. Individual coaches can slow down, work on some fundamentals, that we need to work on. Possibly you have time to move a player around or two on your roster to a different position, see if it helps out. And then 3, if there is a scheme thing, an actual play or something like that you think is going to help you, you do have maybe time to install it. But, you don't want to do too much of that. We're not putting a whole, so we just got to get better at what we're doing. Now with Booker T, we're going to see maybe, like, for example, some bump man with our wideouts need to really work that man-to-man technique and releases and getting off. And so that just allows you some extra time to work on something like that. So I know running back pass protection needs to get better. And so, that's something that running backs can work on. So we'll have some time like that to help us out. As coaches, though, we'll definitely, we'll be meeting today and spending some time as coaching staff, what we need to do this week for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on. And to make this week some sort of, get something out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there has been some pretty good success on the gridiron. We're talking about the JV squad. They've had some wins. And Coach Allen, if you could, tell us about the JV team. You've got some talent there. They're up and coming. And even going down to the 8th grade team. Tell us what you're seeing.
Well, yeah, we opened up our non-varsity really opened up their season last week, and saw a lot of good things. Talent is starting to. I see a lot of talent coming up from the younger ages, body types, bigger, some big kids, tall. We got some, we're just good looking wide receivers, linemen, running backs, quarterbacks. So, there's some good things coming up in the ground level there at Ponca. So, and it's, let's take starting with our sophomore class. Our sophomore class makes up most of our JV team and did a heck of a job, along with some juniors that played the other night and did a heck of a job. Again, at Enid, winning 28-26. Blake Seward getting his first ever start at quarterback with really just a day or so of training. Had to come in there. It wasn't always pretty, but he got it done. And we had some great group of wide receivers. Trayvon tipped in and Lennox Sun Eagle that really made some big plays. Our defense played very solid that game, and finished the game for us. So it was a good win, 28-26 on the road against Enid's JV. It's always positive to get a JV win because that's your future guys. Outside of a few guys that played varsity, we only had mostly just 3 or 4 that actually played a little bit also on Friday night. So it was mostly guys that were, really, junior varsity guys for us. So it was really, really good to see that. And then 8th grade, I watched our 8th grade play. In our 9th grade, 8th grade, 7th grade all played well, and then they all 3 did good things. I just want to give a shout out. 8th grade, played well against Guthrie and beat them 35-0, I believe, or something like that.
Wow.
Some along that score. And but anyways, just want to give them a shout out. They looked really good. And then saw good players, good individual plays and things in the 9th and 7th grade as well. So, there's some good things going on in the younger grades.
Yeah, future Pohai Wildcats, absolutely. Well, we hope to see you at Solon Stadium for the big district matchup with Tulsa's Booker T. Washington, and Coach, that's really when the season starts. When you're talking about district matchups.
Sure. I mean, playoffs are everybody's goal. I mean, that's the tournament at the end of the year. Can you get in the tournament? Obviously, these games you'd love to have wins and columns. Makes it sound good at the end of the year too. But you're right, for what everybody's playing for. I mean, you could go 3-0 and go, and not make playoffs, and it can be some. So now we got a chance to turn it. I tell our guys, I coach for a head coach that had coached on one of his earlier teams, and he's been on a team that went 0-5 and ended up finishing 5-5 and making it to the state finals. The stories are out there like that. It's not so much how you start, it's how you finish. That cliche, but it's a true cliche. The thing is, you just want to keep everybody invested, everybody in tune, because it's hard when you get a loss and they start piling. Human nature and other things kick in. So as a coach, you got to keep everybody up, and that's not always an easy thing, but there's enough positives, and we're looking with enough positive. We have a positive coaching staff that is good at that. We've done it every year. Every year I've been here, we've won. We always get 2, 3. We always get our at least 2. We usually win 2 of our last 3 games. So guys are still bought in, finishing the season strong, playing well, and we want that. We're going to keep going on that road. We all would like to get wins as quick as possible, but there's a process in place. Whether you can rush it or not, we'll see. Right. But Booker T will be talented. They always are. We beat him in here my very first year, 2012, and probably the best win I've had since I've been here. That was a very fun, big win. So it can happen. They got Jordan Brelford, who's playing for Oklahoma State, and Dominique Alexander, who played linebacker for OU, were on those squads, and we beat them that night. Wow. And so, so there's stories out there like that to motivate our guys. At the end of the day, when we're ready to win, we'll win. It's a process. We got a sophomore quarterback and a lot of new starters and defenses we got to improve. So we'll be ready, but our guys will be ready to play when they need to. That's probably the most thing in Guthrie I was disappointed on is I maybe as coaches we didn't look ready to play, and our motion was flat and things like that, and I don't want to see that again. So we got to just, at the end of the day, I want to see us play better. Yeah. Also the game against Booker T also has the National Guard is sponsoring, either the U.S. Army or National Guard partner. They're sponsoring the game, and we will be. They're issuing out jerseys for us. Some camouflage type jerseys. Oh, wow. And same thing with Booker T. So there is going to be a special thing there for the military, and then I think the Army. I believe it's the Army and National Guard that are behind it. Wow. Type thing. So
that's going to be exciting.
Yeah. So we'll get to wear new jersey. They're giving us the first in the jerseys and so on. So
fantastic.
Yes.
Well, we want to see you at Solon Stadium. Our thanks to Coach Josh Allen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sean.
It is Coach's Corner, and we'll be visiting more with Coach Josh Allen throughout the season right here. Our thanks to Coach Josh Swain of the Pohai Lady Cats softball team and Coach Josh Allen. I'm Sean Anderson. Until next time, thank you for watching.